Welcome back to TomPadulaTV and to this third segment in which I talk about the history of Italian theatre here in Melbourne. The Italian community has some very deep roots here in Australian society. There were two Italians on Captain Cook's vessel. They were the link between the work that was undertaken by England at the time, and they were present on those ships. They were present on those ships that came to Australia initially, just to follow the path of Venus in the sky and discover a little bit of what was there in the Pacific Islands generally, and this led to the British called the invasion of Australia by the Europeans in 1788. We call it just journeys into the unknown and settlement of lands that didn't belong to anybody. Well, history has taught us to sort of grapple with this problem, and I think we're doing it successfully. We should also remember that, before Australia was actually settled by the Europeans, in Europe itself for centuries and millennia, people attacked each other. They took over whole cities and countries, literally. Just look at the Roman Empire. And they made, the indigenous people of the areas slaves often enough. So world history teaches us that we really belong to Mother Earth, and that no one really can claim land for themselves eternally. It's one of those thorny problems that humanity has to grapple with, because geography, the maps keep on changing. One country develops a taste for a bit more land, or the other one is not interested, whatever. So there's always a bit of fighting in terms of re-establishing borders. And borders come about, the change of borders come about with political change. So there you are. The history of the Italians here in Australia leads us to reflect about other things. I tend to do this often. You go from one thing to another, and then you come back again and you say, okay, what was I trying to say? Well, I was trying to say that since the beginning, the Italians have been present, and in fact, during the early years, there was a superintendent of police in New South Wales of Italian background, and then we come to the gold rushes when Raffaele Carboni was there at the Eureka Stockade. He wrote a little book in English, which he published in Italy, strange as it seems, and that was one of the first major works of literature here in Australia by someone of Italian background. Since then, things have progressed. After the gold rushes, there was a lot of transformation of Australia, in the sense it was divided into states, which were independent of each other and close to the monarch in England. And finally we had federation in 1901, and there had already been a sizable number of Italians within the larger community. This kept going until after World War II, when the Italians came in big ships, very numerous, and some of them paid their own way to come here, and some of them were actually brought in with their trip paid by the government. The English were luckier because you had what they called the 10-pound poms. They came with very little money to this country because after all they had colonised it. So there we are. The journey continues. This theatrical company is just one of many that established its roots here in Melbourne since my days at university. Before then there were a couple of, well, a few smaller companies that didn't last very long, very amateurish generally, but the seed was sown, and then since the late 1960s we've had a very, very good presence of Italian theatre groups here in Melbourne, thanks also to the work of our local Italian media that have recorded a lot of this, a lot of what has happened over the years. So La Puta Onorata will come to you with these thoughts in mind. Well, that's it for segment 3 of program 3 of La Puta Onorata. I hope that you don't forget to go to YouTube and look us up, TomPadulaTV.com, for the video work and the television work in general, and also TomPadula.com for everything else. See you next time.